In recent weeks, we have highlighted and brought to the Irish public the absolutely abominable behaviour of the Irish judicial system. We had a situation where James Flynn, whom has been totally acquitted of any involvement in the murder robbery at Lordship Credit Union on the 25th of January 2013, he was then the conviction for the theft of a blue Passat, and this blue Passat was allegedly used in the murder robbery, when the only eyewitnesses said that the Passat was silver or grey. So James was found guilty of this involvement, conspiracy to steal this car, the blue Passat, and that was overturned because of an error by Judge Tony Hunt. Now, initially, Judge Tara Burns in James Flynn's appeal said that Judge Tony Hunt acted unlawfully. So that was okay. James Flynn was then, although he was acquitted and all his charges overturned, the Irish judicial system still held him in custody until last week. And we know that the Irish judicial system are now sending James Flynn back for retrial. So the absurdity of the whole judicial system, making stuff up as to go along, retrying a man for something he's already been acquitted of, retrying a man for something that was not on an extradition warrant. There are a whole lot of aspects to what happened in the last few weeks with James Flynn that are simply very difficult to answer, and we have covered them in some detail. But what I do want to look at is, again, bring to your attention the basic facts that are there in front of everyone. And what we have brought to you before, and I said we are going to continue to highlight the new evidence we have uncovered. So on foot of that, last week at James Flynn's extradition, or at James Flynn's appeal trial where he was sent back for retrial, I gave to a number of reporters the information we've seen before, the images generated of the four raiders that we've seen here, and the image generated of the man who shot and murdered Detective Guard Agent Donoghue, and the intense information that was collected to generate these images. Okay, so we've looked at that, and I give that to Paul Reynolds. I believe he works for RTE. And subsequently, on Thursday evening, on RTE, I think it was, I'm not sure it was prime time or what, Miriam O'Callaghan anyway, senior investigating Pat Marray was wheeled on to speak about the disappearance of Michael Gain in Kenmare. See, the problem with the criminals like Marray and Phillips and all these people, as they continue to speak and open their mouth, they will continually dig a bigger hole and show us in Aaron's campaign, and show you, the Irish public, that they have portrayed a tissue of lies of how an investigation should be and how the investigation was carried out. So we're just going to have a little listen to the introduction here of Pat Marray speaking to Miriam O'Callaghan. Let's have a listen to the first little clip.
Well known and recognisable in his community, simply disappear.
Conor Wilson reporting there from Kenmare, and I'm now joined by former Garda Detective Inspector Pat Marray. You've been a senior investigating officer in so many big cases, Pat, including Rachel O'Reilly, Garda Adrian Donoghue, and of course Irene White. Yes. You just wrote a book about that. He's a missing person at the moment.
Yes.
But what's your sense, if you were investigating this, what would you be looking at?
Well, you have to stick to the formula. Like a criminal investigation or any investigation is about systematically identifying, preserving, gathering and analysing information. And that information can come in any format, whether it be a witness statement, television, TV, or CCTV or phone records or witness testimony or whatever, and they all have to be minutely looked into to see if...
We will post the 6 minutes of this interview Pat Marray gave to Miriam O'Callaghan immediately after this video. But I think that is 1 minute and 1 second. And Pat Marray has completely sunk himself in relation to his investigation into the murder of Detective Guard Adrian Donahue. So Miriam asks him, what is the formula, Pat, for this investigation? The formula is, he says, is collect witness statements. Right, Mr. Marray, here is Joe Ryan's witness statement. Now, he made a number of witness statements, but just look at this. In the first statement, Joe Ryan, a man with 30 years experience in Garda Síochána along the border, he is a professional witness. Joe Ryan, and you've said in the stupid podcast you've done, and the stupid book you've written, and the stupid interviews you have given, that you sat down and you took this detail. You yourself said this, it can be found all over the internet, that you sat down in great detail and you're empathetic towards Joe and all the cliches of the day of how brilliant you were at handling witnesses. And what did Joe Ryan tell you in that incident room in Dundalk Garda Station on the 25th of January 2013? What did Joe Ryan tell Pat Marray? Joe Ryan told Pat Marray that the man who shot your alleged friend and colleague, because the way you have treated Adrian Donahue is nothing short of disgusting, reprehensible, it's absolutely stomach churning, that RTE parade you like a dummy every time they want some clown to make stupid, cliched comments about any major crime. But what did Joe Ryan tell you, Pat Marray? He told you the man who shot his colleague was 6 foot or 6'1". Here we have the statement of credit union worker Mary Hanlon, and she told us that the man with the long bar running down his leg, which we know now was a shotgun, was long and athletic. Now, those are witness statements. And you say they have to be scrutinised or a minute detail. That's not minute detail. That's telling you that the raider who shot and murdered Detective Guard Adrian Donahue is over 6 foot tall. You mentioned then CCTV footage. Obviously vitally important. And I'm just going to show this very simple clip. I think we released this in December last year, shortly after we received the CCTV footage from the time of the murder and robbery. And it's just a still, and it sort of covers what we think of you and Detective Phillips, who also headed the investigation. So let's just have a little listen to this, and obviously the information given by the CCTV footage. Here we go. Two senior investigating officers, Pat Marray and Mark Phillips, led the investigation into the tragic murder of Detective Garda Adrian Donahue. These men were entrusted by the Irish people with uncovering the truth. These men know without question a critical fact. The man who shot Detective Garda Adrian Donahue was over 6 feet tall. Aaron Brady, the man they convicted and imprisoned, stands at 5 feet 7 inches. Let that sink in. How does this add up? So now let's examine other evidence from that fateful night. We have already seen the two raiders who attacked the Garda car, and we know that both of those raiders are taller than Aaron Brady. We now highlight other clips from the CCTV footage. I don't think there's any doubt that it's there in black and white, it's there in the photograph. The information is that the man who shot and murdered Detective Guard Adrian Donahue is 6'1". And Pat Marray's telling us how important CCTV footage is, he's telling us how important witness statements is. So he, Pat Marray, and Senior Investigating Officer Mark Phillips, along with the entire incident room in the Dundalk Garda station, had this simple information. And that information was that the man who shot and murdered Detective Guard Adrian Donoghue is over 6'1". And our engineers who've had a look at this footage believe that the man may be as tall as 6'3" who pulled the trigger, because we have the measurement of the open door of the Garda Avensis. And how can RTE, Miriam O'Callaghan, and as I say, that morning I had given more information. I'd given these stills, which they already had, I'd given to Paul Reynolds, whom I think he did say the last time I gave him these actual CCTV stills here from the car park. He did say in his report that Tony Brady, Aaron Brady's father, was handing out leaflets. This is the leaflets we're handing out, and RTE have them. And they have this dummy, Pat Marray, sitting in front of them, and they can't ask questions. When he mentioned CCTV footage, it would have been quite simple to ask, well, Mr. Marray, we have these stills here from the murder of Detective Guard Adrian Donoghue. Can you explain it? Simple as that. If we were saying something that was wrong, or the information we were giving us incorrect, or we had some way tampered with these photographs, you can be damn sure RTE would be speaking about it, and Pat Marray would be having us in civil court. But this is the truth. And it gets progressively worse watching this man, because obviously we have an idea of what we think of Pat Marray, and the man is a complete and total idiot. He is self-serving, narcissistic, and an egomaniac. And just to waste a minute of your life, just listen to the word salad he comes out with here. Absolute, complete, coaxed into a van looking for money. He got ill and they dumped him out. Maybe somewhat what people dump rubbish. Like, this is a senior detective speaking about a missing person in Kenmare in County Kerry. Just to have a listen to Pat Marray speaking here.
If there's anything there that's not right, you sort of get engrossed in investigations, and you sort of put your power of thought into what might have happened. So you can't overlook the possibility that he met someone in his yard that morning, or persons in his yard, and they in some way coaxed him into a van or to come, and he went with them on the guise of them going to show him something or whatever, and maybe looked for money or whatever. The poor man might have got ill, and they might have dumped him out somewhere or left him someplace outside the realm of where the search area is at the moment. And like, I'm sure the investigators and the Gardaí in Kenmare are going to be looking at derelict houses further out of the search area, and places where people would normally go, or people would dump rubbish or whatever, to search those areas as well. But the answers are down there. The answers are there. They're always there, and there is someone that does know. And you have to keep going. You cannot give up. You have to have that passion to solve it, to get it over the line, And the families deserve that, And from what I can make out, he was a man who was going about his normal daily work, and wasn't giving no indication that he was going to skip off himself. So the answers are there.
I'm not sure if RTE paid this man for this, but if they did, it is TV licence payers' money very poorly spent. Notwithstanding that, every time he opens his mouth in relation to the Adrian Donoghue case, he tells us exactly what should have happened, exactly what did happen. And if we listen to what Pat Marray says here, and the big thing to take away from this clip here is frame by frame. Please listen to this clip.
And I think CCTV will be hugely important in this, because he may have been followed from the centre. He might have been identified. Say, there's an elderly man, we'll go follow him and see where he goes. So CCTV is going to be hugely important, and I know from previous investigations, the CCTV that we had to look through, like, you know, it was frame by frame, and it took like weeks and months, and you know, to view this stuff to see could we pick out evidence that we could use in court, and we did, especially in the Adrian Donoghue case. But it took us, like, we had 40 years of viewing gathered, so much, like, you know. But you have to be passionate about solving it and think outside the box as to what might have happened to this man, and if he had.
CCTV footage is hugely important. We look at it frame by frame. So there is no doubt, there is no ambiguity, there's no possibility in the world that on Garda Síochána, each and every one of them in Dundalk Garda Station seen this frame. And many other frames like it, of the man who shot and murdered Detective Garda Adrian Donoghue is tall, thin, athletic, and is 6'1" or even taller. Now, he covers himself to, well, he doesn't cover himself, but he makes a big thing out of this 40,000 hours or 40 years of CCTV footage. A lot of that is complete and utter nonsense, because take, for example, at the CCTV footage on the night of the robbery, it's only just over a minute. So you can focus in on very small, specific periods of time in each and every CCTV site. Now, there may be some where you'd have to run through a day, but you can run through a day's CCTV footage in a couple of hours. So it would take 40 years to watch the video. It's all bullshit and aesthetics, and it means absolutely nothing. So once again, we're going to show the CCTV footage, and what I would like to show about Pat Marray, and he talks about witness statements and behaviour and how to do things right, be methodical and everything must be done, let's say, according to the book. We're going to show you now a minute of how Pat Marray and Detective Bobby Ogle went through an identification progress with criminal and total liar and scumbag Christopher Morton, a man who gave a statement against Aaron in New York. He was too cowardly, and he was a coward, a total coward, and he wouldn't come to court then, or via Zoom from online from New York to the court in Dublin, but he was too cowardly to take a chance at telling his lies. And the behaviour of Marray here with Bobby Ogle, again, is disgusting, it's reprehensible, it's illegal. RTE are fully aware of this clip, completely aware of it. So I just want to show the real Pat Marray, and if you watch him closely and his moves and shapes when he's talking to Christopher Morton, the legal immigrant who sold his soul to stay in America because his life was in danger because of the criminals he was dealing with here in Northern Ireland, if he was sent back home. This is what Pat Marray is capable of.
An additional statement starting at 7:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay, Christopher, could you just look at what Detective Inspector Marray is showing you and tell me, well, what do you see?
It's Aaron Brady, right there.
And you're looking at a photograph, a copy of a photograph presented to you, and you recognise the person in that as Aaron Brady, as the same person that told you that he had shot the guard. Okay. So we're just going to put that down as an additional statement. Is that okay? So, copying from your first statement.
I think anyone with, well, you don't even have to have a knowledge of any form of police procedure, but everyone knows you can't show a sheet of paper to someone and say, who is that? And a little bit of background into this scumbag Christopher Morton. This chance meeting allegedly with Aaron in a dark pub after 2 days drinking. He was after doing 2 days drinking at a wedding, and he had never seen Aaron before. He'd never seen him since. And these two disgusting, reprehensible detectives show him a sheet of paper with Aaron's face on it. And as I say, without knowing anything about police procedure, ethics, or what's right or what's wrong, we know there should be 4, 5, 6, 7 photographs put down in front of Morton and asked to pick one out. And we have released most of that interview with Morton and Ogle and Marray. And would you believe those two stupid detectives never asked Christopher Morton to describe the man he met at the bar? So Pat Marray talks about doing everything right and focusing on methodical, and it's all lies, it's all sham, it's all bullshit. And the authorities in Ireland, the judicial system, Drew Harris, GSOC, everyone is fully aware of the behaviours of those two, the 3 scumbags were after watching there in a room in New York. And finally, we're just going to show again a little bit of the CCTV footage. And again, if you break it, when this is broken down frame by frame, it's sort of self-explanatory, but we know Joe Ryan, big lump of a man, up around the 6 foot mark. But when we put the line on the CCTV footage, it shows clearly that the man who shot him, or the detective guard Adrian Donoghue, is taller than Joe Ryan. Just let's have a little look at this clip. Hope that short clip, it's quite easy to discern that Joe Ryan never reached the height that the raider with the shotgun was. So again, there's no ambiguity, there's no question mark, there is no possible way that Joe Ryan was 6, 7 inches taller than Aaron Brady, if Aaron Brady was the man with the shotgun. So it's complete and utter nonsense. So if Aaron was the man with the shotgun in that clip, Joe Ryan's head and shoulders would have to be above the white line. That's how absurd this whole thing is. We will repeat once again, Pat Marray is a liar, has committed perjury, and he is a total disgrace. And he is being wheeled out and peddled by RTE as some sort of detective genius. Now, there are whole lots of incidents and events surrounding the other crimes he has been involved in and investigating. And all that, we're not going to get into it, but we are aware of people and families involved in the other investigations Marray was involved in, and their opinion is similar. The man is an idiot, an egotistical maniac. We gave Paul Reynolds this information last Thursday. Paul Reynolds, I'm sure, was fully aware that this clown, Pat Marray, was on Miriam's show that evening. So where is the journalistic integrity? And as we repeat ad nauseum, if any of the information I handed to Paul Reynolds on Thursday last, if any of that information was wrong, incorrect, or tampered with, this was the ideal opportunity to raise that and give Pat Marray the opportunity to say, this is incorrect because, well, there are no excuses. The camera made Aaron Brady look bigger and the camera made Joe Ryan look smaller. The camera made Aaron Brady look bigger and it made the door of the car shrink. But give Pat Marray an opportunity to tell his side of the story and question him and get some answers to the questions we raised in the letter we gave to Paul Reynolds. The whole thing is absolutely rotten. The opportunity is there for Reynolds or anyone else to question any of the information we've put forward with Aaron's campaign. So Reynolds too, Paul Reynolds, you're a total disgrace. Your behaviour is reprehensible to the memory of Detective Guard Adrian Donoghue, and it is totally disgusting what you are doing in lockstep with the Irish state and protecting this clown that is Pat Marray. So again, every time these people open their mouth and mention the words Adrian Donoghue, we know they're telling lies. If Pat Marray mentions the name Adrian Donoghue and his lips are moving, he's telling lies, as we have proven continuously. So we will continue to highlight this until it is picked up and it is dealt with in the proper manner. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and share. We are being heavily censored. I keep repeating it. Shadow banned, all sorts of issues with YouTube and Facebook. And we do need your help to get Aaron's story out there. So please, please like, comment and share. Thank you.